Hi guys, welcome to another video by Antiquesarena. My name's Walter Neal and today I got an absolute corker of a video for you. As you know, for the last year or so I've been trying to learn Chinese porcelain, and to be honest with you, it hasn't been the easiest thing in the world. But one of the mistakes I've been making is I've been trying to learn it as a whole section. Well, now I've decided to split it up into purely just export porcelain. I'm going to focus mainly on the 18th century at the moment for the studying, but with the buying I'm going to buy 18th, 19th century, it doesn't matter. So last week I put a sale on my eBay to generate a few £100 to go up to Malvern and specifically buy broken pieces of Chinese. I know, why broken? They're worthless, you can't sell them on at the end. Well, it's cheaper for me to buy broken pieces for academic purposes, for studying. I can pick up an 18th century plate for 10 or 20 quid, whereas a perfect example could be 200. Or a vase that could be £500, I can pick it up for a 10 or 20 quid because it's smashed. Not only then, because it's broken, you get to see the actual body of the porcelain in the chips or the cracks. So there's lots of good reasons to buy damaged porcelain. Of course, personally for me, while I'm studying the subject. When you read your books, and they talk about orange peel on 19th century pieces or the porcelain texture and things, you want to pick a piece up and compare and go, oh, that's what you mean, okay. So that's why I'm doing it. If you went to university, you'd have to pay thousands for your education. This is no different. I'm going out and spending, probably will be thousands in the end, on pieces for studying. Anyway, before I went to Malvern on Sunday, I actually went down to Cardiff Cardiff Museum, we'll get there. And I spent a few hours in there studying the Chinese pieces they have. Now, they don't have huge amounts of Chinese porcelain in Cardiff Museum, unfortunately. Oh, sorry. Sorry guys, I've been full up of a cold all weekend. But what I did do, the pieces they did have there, I spent hours and hours staring at them and looking at them and examining them through the glass. And I've done a few films. I'm sorry. It's either film with a cold or not film, guys. So I've made a few films while I was in the museum and lots of photographs. There was some memorial pieces there that were spectacular. They really were. Hopefully I'm finished. When you look at the film with the memorial pieces, look at how the dogs are drawn. They might at first glance look quite crude, but they've got it in such a way that they look alive. And that's what the Chinese artists were good at. Even though to first glance it looked quite crude or something a child could draw, they managed to do the painting so they looked alive. And they had expression and character in the faces and things. So specifically look at the figures of the animals and the people in that and see if they look alive or if they look just slapped on dead on the porcelains. In addition, I've done a lot of photographs on a really rare Kanzi vase. And honest to God, the vase was spectacular. I must have spent hour and a half just examining the one vase. I wish I could have took it out the cabinets and had a proper look at it, but it was probably a couple of £1 million worth of vase. Really, really amazing piece. So before I go any further and show you what I bought this weekend now for my study purposes, have a look at the bits from the museum. I've no doubt you're going to absolutely love them. Pay attention to how they carved and how they painted and things like that. And I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you in a couple of minutes now and we'll have a look at what I've bought.
this way, baby. This way, please.
Well, hopefully you thought the same as me that some of the pieces there were spectacular. The vase in question wasn't the blue and white one with the figures, it was the polychrome with the waves on the back and everything. Oh, it was amazing. Anyway, I bought quite a few pieces this week. I went nuts on plates. I bought quite a few plates. So anyway, I went up to Malvern to give you an idea. I'll break some of the prices down to give you an idea. But I went through about £300 to £350 on the Chinese porcelains. And the Chinese pieces anyway. So all in, that's probably what this lot owes me, is about £300 to £350 for study purposes. Some of it can be sold, some of it won't. So we'll start off with this beautiful 18th century plate. This one is Yongzhen. It's not quite a Kanzi piece. All of them are hand painted. I love this beautiful, well, very loosely painted picture. You look at the reverse and it's got a very small amount of sprigs or decoration. So this is quite late. They stopped decorating the back by about 1740 and this is very minor. So you're talking this is about 1730. You look at the shape. Good morning. Sorry guys, customers coming in. That's the joys of filming while I'm open. As I was saying, you want to look at the shape. All the Chinese porcelain of the 18th century copied the silver shapes. This one's got a brown dressed rim, which again was quite early. It's got rim fritting, which isn't untypical. Again, you know, you look at the painting. At first glance, it looks a mess, but then you start looking in closer, you actually see stuff. You know, like that's a bird head and that's a bird head. You got the bamboo trees. Really nice plate. And as I said, this one's Yongzhen. It's probably about 1730 in date, somewhere over there. Really, really nice. I think that one actually cost me about 20 quid. So it's not a lot of money for a really nice early plate. These ones, I had 3. These are later. These are Ching Wong. So about 1770, somewhere on by there, 1760, 1770. Beautifully painted with this floral design, really nice painting. Again, very similar shape. What you're looking for is this beautiful tan foot, but notice the back is plain. So they stopped doing the decoration on the back by about 1740. And yeah, the next 3 plates, this one included, cost me £5 each. And they're Ching Wong. In fact, I'm going to show you in just a minute. There's a big difference in the colours as well. So there's the next one. Beautiful plate. Really nicely decorated. Those flowers are beautiful. Same again, look. Plain. You can see the shapes. show you the difference in the colour though to the enamel. I don't know if you can see it. There is a big difference. The blue on this one's a lot paler. And this one is again an earlier plate. It's Ching Wong again, but I think this one's about 1750. Really nice again. You've got the fence and all the flowers. Anything else on that one? No, it's just quite nicely painted. You can see all the crack in here. Again, the shape. Plenty of rim fitting on this one. But that's a nice plate again. For a £5 each, I weren't going to leave them there. So for £35, I've had 4 really nice 18th century plates. I can study the variations in the decoration and everything. What I intend to do is probably buy 100 plates from 1700 through to 1900 and date them all and put all the keywords now down on them. So then whenever I'm reading the books, I can, or want to just look at the plates, they're all dated and I'll have them in order. This piece here cost me a lot of money. Now that is Chinese Amaury. It's had a replacement handle. It's not the original handle. Let me take the lid off. That's quite spectacular. It's beautifully painted. Love this fishbone border across the top there. Not sure if that's a bit of cracked ice around there. You got the nice Amaury colours. Nicely finished foot. Now this is, I believe, a Kanzi Teapot. So this teapot dates to, well, the Kanzi period I think was 1640 something to 1722, something like that, 1666 sorry, to 1722, something like that. And I'd say this one is closer to 1700, 1710. But I actually paid £50 for that teapot. No handle, or the wrong handle. Chips to the lid. But it is a beautiful teapot. For example, for studying, perfect. I will do close-up videos on all these once I've done the research on them and authenticated them as real. But look how the porcelain stops around the foot. It does a really nice job. You got the bird here flying. You got a little incised decoration down here of a butterfly that's been incised into the porcelain on this side. It's a really, really nice piece. And yeah, I'm hoping I'm right, and that's Kanzi, about 1700, 1710. It's got the brown dress rim on the top there with fritting. But yeah, 50 quid, a lot of money to pay for a broken teapot. So fingers crossed I haven't messed up on that one. I don't think I have, I'll be honest with you. Next piece was converted into a lamp. However, they didn't drill this one. They made this, which is an insert that just sat into the lamp like so. So, it just lifts out. Got a state on that. The downside with it is there's a big lump of plaster inside that you can't see that I've got to drill out. And the worst part about it is loose. I've got to be very careful not to smash this vase. Now this is rose medallion, female rose medallion. Simple way of telling is rose medallion has all the panels with the people, the butterflies, the insects and all the rest of it. This is a little later. This is about 1870 in date. If it had been the earlier one of about 1830, 1840, it would have had gold highlights in the hair and more detail, but it is really nicely done. It's in good condition apart from the fact they'd made it into a lamp and I got to drill it out. They didn't drill the base, which is good, and all this around the rim will clean off, look. It will all come off. So I've got a really nice 19th century female rose medallion of Camille Rose or Rose Medallion, whatever you want to call it, vase. I think that one cost me about 30 quid. I bought it in a job lot, so the actual price I calculate that at is about £30, so that's a really, really good buy. I bought a lid. It is a simple lid, that's it. No jar, no nothing. Have a guess how much I paid for that. Let's show you what we got first. We got this beautiful, is that the right way up? Yeah. Take a look at this beautiful drawn, painted dragon. Four claws, unfortunately. Beautiful head there. Really nice colour to the cobalt blue. It's actually in nice condition. But I actually think that this is a Ming lid. I don't think it's Kanzi, I think it's earlier than that. I think this one is about 1640, 1660 in date. I could be wrong, but that's where I'm putting it. And I actually paid £15 for a lid. Two reasons. One, it's a beautiful fine example of the porcelain and the painting. And two, if I ever decide to sell it, if you've got a Ming vase that needs one of these, how much are you going to pay? A Ming vase can be worth a couple of £1,000 without the lid. A few hundred quid with the lid, makes it a lot more saleable. And it is perfect, there's no chips on it either. That was a rare little find, in my opinion. And the best part about it, with the Chinese pieces, the lids weren't always made with the vases or the jars. They'd match the lids in later. So sometimes there's movement in that on the vases and that's actually normal and acceptable. So you could theoretically match that in with another vase of the period and nobody would even know it didn't always belong. But for 15 quid, I weren't leaving it there. I did try and knock him down, but no, he weren't having none of it. And to be honest with you, I don't blame the man one bit. I had a couple of pieces, something and nothing. Paid a tenner for these pieces. Put these down behind me. So again, we got another piece of this Rose Medallion, sorry. But what I was saying about earlier about the gold and that in the hair, if you look there. So this cup dates to about 1840. Beautifully painted, lovely scenes, court scenes. You got the flowers, the birds, the insects, the butterflies, everything. So again, another nice example. It's had restoration around the handle there, but I don't care. It's a nice example. Now I paid £10 for the 4 pieces, right? We got a lid off another 18th century Amaury Teapot. It's only a fragment, if you like, or a lid. But again, a different variation of the colours, the enamelling, how it's painted, and the porcelain. And I had these two little cups. This one is just a Canton, probably about 1790, 1800, somewhere over there. Really nicely painted. I'd say some sort of variation of the willow pattern, but and a bit of moulding on the handle there. But to have the 4 pieces for a tenner, I was more than happy. And this is a rose Mandarin Cup. Reason it's rose Mandarin, it's only people. No insects, no flowers. It is just people all the way around. And again, I'd say this one with the gold in the hair. If you take a look, you can just about see the gold highlighting in her hair and that's left over. Again, it's probably about 1840 in date. And if you look at the shading on the dress, it's not all just one thick colour. You can see the condition of it, very poor. But I had those 4 pieces for about a tenner. So I was super happy with that. Nice little examples there. Now I learned something myself this week. I bought this pair of plates for 20 quid. That's the first. And then you had this beaut. Now, very recently was I discussing a bowl on a website with this leaping fish in the Kanzi period, and it was absolutely spectacular. And when I turned it over, and it's got this bit of a seal mark here, and it's got a wax seal on it there, I thought to myself, have I really come across something really good here? And then I done some research, and this little wax seal here I found was, there was a name of it, I can't think of the name of it. It was like a scholar's seal that basically said that this wasn't an antique. You can't export anything older than Ching Wong out of China. And that is exactly, well, it looks like a Ming bowl. You cannot export Ming and Kanzi porcelains out of China, it is illegal. So this little seal here tells them that it's not a true antique and that it can be exported. So that little seal there was a pain in my arse, to be totally honest with you. But a good example to have, and when I do the write-up on there now and put this with the piece, it'll be an interesting learning piece. And I learned something. For that 20 quid now, I know anything with the wax seal on it basically means it was allowed to be exported out of China because it wasn't a true Ming piece, or it wasn't an antique. So, alright for study, but unfortunately not of the period, which was kind of gutted. Okay, moving on. I had this, which I think is absolutely spectacular. Really, really nicely painted. Now, we forget the mark on that for a second. If you start looking at the movement and the shading and everything on the figures, now they've got a bit of blush into the face, but they don't look sunburnt. The really later examples are really red in the face. The earlier examples are white. But it's nicely done, nicely painted. All this is really well done. It's been drilled in the 20s as a lamp, and they went straight through the Ching Wong mark. I think it is possibly of the period, late 18th, early 19th century. It's cracked everywhere. It's got star cracks and a hole there, cracked up there, cracked down that side. Gutted that it was drilled as a lamp. But this is one to research. I'm not 100% on this. The plates, I knew exactly what they were, and the period, because I've been doing a lot of work on the plates. But that is a spectacular, beautiful vase. Downside was in the 20s there was this massive fashion of drilling lamps and drilling vases and turning them into lamps. And I've just noticed by there bat. So got a really nice example by there. Can't remember what I paid for it. I think it was only something like a tenner, somewhere under there. Wasn't fortunes. Again, we have another problem here. Spectacular, beautiful vase. A lot of work gone into this. All the gilding here and everything across there. Don't know the period. I think it's Ching Wong again. I'm not 100%. But it's quite spectacular. I can't tell you the exact period a minute because I need to do research on it. But they've drilled through the mark again. Smashed the pieces again. Look at the state of the top. Smashed everywhere. Repaired. You can see the price. He was asking £15. I settled with him on 12. But what a beautiful example of the enamels and the painting and the potting and the paste. For the money, it's really nice. And you never know, I might get something off that vase mark yet. You never know. Haven't researched it yet, guys. But it's a beautiful, beautiful piece. Even with all the damage, it'll still display and look amazing if I wanted to display it. Right. Moving away. No, I got one more piece of Chinese porcelain to show you. Hang on. Well, I did have another piece to show you, but I must have left it at home. It was, I'll put in another video. It was a Republic period, Familion, eggshell, I think it was Familion, when it's beautiful yellow, 5-claw dragon vase. It was spectacular quality and it was beautiful. I'll show you that in another video. Now I did buy other pieces that weren't Chinese porcelain. I stumbled upon this beautiful piece of Chinese silver. Now this is a menu holder, fully hallmarked around here. Now I actually paid 30 quid for that. I know, you're probably thinking I'm mad. £30 for a tiny piece of silver like that. But take a look by there now. Somebody's asking £200 for that one piece. So I'm actually selling that. That's going to go up for sale. Because it's not what I want. I want the study pieces. But from what I've been reading and watching on YouTube and things, I knew the Chinese silver was doing really well. Another piece I bought, which wasn't porcelain, which I absolutely loved, is a piece of soapstone. Now I've seen Chinese soapstone many times, but this was a really nice one. It's a little incense burner, you put the incense in there. You got monkeys carved all over it, you got deer carved down here, you got a bat by here, you got birds all down the base. Really nice example. I don't think it's a modern piece. Really is nice. Now, it didn't come in for nothing. I paid 25 quid for it. Purely because I'd never seen one with all this subject matter before. If it's a modern one, I'm not an expert on it, but if it's a modern one, it's worth probably 25 to 40 quid, rough around what I paid for it. If it's got any age at all, which I think it has, then it should be up £100. Should be able to get about 100 for that. So most of my money back on the day is going to be on those two pieces if they sell. Potentially is about £300 back per there for those two pieces. Potentially. However, I also bought these. No, I paid a tenner for the pair. No, £15 for the pair. If you take a look, you got this almost Buddhist wheel here, you got a mythical dragon there, you got flowers, another sort of dragon up here, beautiful hand painted border, really nice plate. Now, I wasn't 100% on who made them when I bought them. I know now. Good morning. Sorry guys. So yeah, I done my research on them. Initially I thought they may have been Welsh, but they weren't. They date to about 1795 and they're by Worcester. They are nice early pieces of Worcester. And if I stand aside and splice in by there now, there's a double or a pair with cracks up for £250 and there's a single up for £150. I paid £7.5 quid a plate, mind. Now that, absolutely beautiful. That's what you call a win. I know I went up there for the Chinese, but I couldn't leave them there. Another piece that I couldn't leave there, which again, when I saw it across the table, I thought it had a very Chinese look to it. Massive Amaury meat platter. Now this is quite something, guys. It really is. Every single bit of this is hand painted. You got this sort of honeycomb here where they've painted that and they've even filled it in the shade in as little blue lines. And you got all the scroll work. Good morning. Unfortunately, as you see, it's a stapled piece. Want to say hello?
Oh, bad time you're on my back.
No, you're alright fella, you're alright. Well, say hello to Richard before I shut you off.
Yeah, the famous one who's been mentioned a few times.
Only once or twice. I'll get back to you in a bit, guys. Okay, guys, sorry about that. I've had loads of people in and out today, and Richard just been for his weekly visit. I'm going to get back to showing you this large meat plate, but I've also been down to the car and I found I'm missing Chinese vase. So I'll show you that one now in just a minute. So we were discussing this meat charger or platter. Now, as I've said, every single bit of this is hand painted. You had all the scrolls here in the puce colour that you can't see. These honeycomb squares, if you like. Really, really fine piece. Now, I must admit, when I saw it on the table at a distance, I thought it was Chinese. And then I got up closer and no, it's English Amaury. Then when you turn it over, you know for certain it's English. And it's got this swirled pattern in here as well, but it's got an impressed mark there. It's got a pattern number there, which is 2976 or 2974 in puce. And it's got an impressed mark down here of a 6 or 9. Now, I don't know if it's Masons, I don't know if it's Splott or Copeland. There's a few people who have done these. It looks like Copeland, it looks like Mason. So I'm not sure. I actually put on Talking Antiques yesterday and asked if anybody knew the pattern or the factory, and nobody's answered me, so it's not going to be an easy one to identify. But it is 1820, give or take, somewhere under there. So you're talking a 200-year-old platter. It's spectacular. The quality, I don't actually mind this break here in the stapling. What I would do is add something to secure the front of it, and I'd actually display that. It is a spectacular piece of really early ceramics. Really, really nice. And it's about half a metre, 50 centimetres wide. So that is a really nice piece. If you want to know exactly how much I paid for the individual piece, it was about £16.40. He had £20 on him, and I offered 15 because of the condition. I must admit, I did knock him. And he said 17, and I pulled out a £20 note. He said, "I've got change," and I said, "I got this in change," and it was about £16.40, and that's what he took. So, that is all the pieces there. We have one piece left. Now, a nice indicator. You got a nice embroidered box and bone. These little clips here are made of bone. So it's a nice little indicator that it's quite a nice early piece. Look at that. That is absolutely gorgeous. Now this is Chinese eggshell porcelain. So it weighs next to nothing. It's like old and fresh air. It's in yellow ground. It's got 5 clawed dragons. All the dragons got 5 claws on them. Spectacularly painted. It's got a Ching Wong mark to the base. Really, really fine piece. Now, while Richard was here, we had a little look online, and I found an identical piece, or almost identical, in America for 500 and something. Anyway, I'll splice that photo in there. It was about 500 and something pounds, 600 and something dollars, for an identical piece of this eggshell with a Ching Wong mark, 5-claw dragon on the yellow ground. Mine, however, has got a bit of damage. As you know, I went up for everything damaged because it'd make it cheaper. There's a chunk that's been stuck back on. It's just broken off, been stuck, restuck. But that is a beautiful, beautiful piece of porcelain. Age-wise, I think it's early 20th century Republic, but I think that went all the way up to sort of 1910 through to 1950, something like that. But really nice piece. So that's about it, guys, for my Malvern trip. I don't know what you think. Personally, I think I've had some serious gems, and I absolutely love. Well, I'm going to sell the Worcester for probably 300 for the pair, or take an offer. We've just been looking now, me and Richard, and some of the soapstone carvings with the monkeys and deers are up £200. So that's probably going to be about 150 to 200 and a couple of £100 on the menu holder. So I'm going to be up probably 700, 800 pound. Let's say about 700 pound for those. So I'm going to pretty much double my money, and then all the porcelain I bought will be free. So it'll give me a nice profit, and all the porcelain I've got will be free. And to be totally honest with you, I was just looking now, and we found a Ming Wanli vase, blue and white vase, with a pewter top, a replacement top, sold for £3,500. Could you imagine how much they'd pay to have an original lid on their vase? How much more valuable it'd make their £3,000 vase? You know, I'm not selling it, but yeah. All in all, it's been absolutely spectacular. The next Malvern's December the 8th, and I shall be up there again doing the exact same thing again, buying all the Chinese porcelain. I'll put £400-500 into it. As I was just saying to Richard now, I'm going to become a Chinese expert. If it'll take me a few years, so be it. I'm going to become an expert, and to do that, I'm going to buy thousands of pieces, read all the books I can, and I'll have a catalogue of pieces at home that I can refer to. So it'll be a few £1,000s well spent. Guys, I really hope you've enjoyed having a look. I've got a load of Chinese porcelain anyway, so what I intend to do one day in the week or next week, I'm going to lie it all out on the floor here, and it's probably 100 pieces or more now I've got, and I'll lie them out oldest and newest or youngest, and we'll line them all up, and I'm just going to film them all for you to see what I've got, and I'll talk about them a little bit and just give you an idea of some of the examples I've already amassed. Now, if you want to learn it, there's no better way than going out and buying a broken piece, because most 99% of the dealers won't touch it because it's hard to sell it on because it's damaged. A lot of people put it in the bin. But if you want a piece for academic purposes, for learning off, go out, buy yourself a broken, snapped piece of 18th century porcelain for £5. Why not? Guys, I'm going to leave it there. Hope you've enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. Bye for now.